Well, hi everybody, I hope you're all well. I'm well. It's quite a nice day here today. It's about 13 degrees, but the winds were getting big gusts. It has died down a little bit. I mean, these trees was all going mental, but it has died down quite a bit now, so I hope it's not interfering too much. I don't know whether you can hear it. The sun's just come out, so brilliant. I would show you Chunky, but I don't want to lift the covers up at the moment because if the wind catches them, they'll be gone. But I'm pleased to say he's a lot better. The scales have gone down, the swelling's gone down. I've put 8 doses in. Now I'm holding off now because he looks fine. I'm going to call that it at the moment and see how we go. But he's back to normal, bless him. He's eating and shooting about the pond. But the sun's out, which makes you feel better. So I don't want to lift the covers up just in case it gets under them and lifts the blooming lot off. That'd be a bit scary. But we're going down in the workshop. I've got a couple of jobs on the go now I want to get done, which I will show you. One's on the CNC and the other one is I want to get on with this Bakki shower. So the sooner I can get on with that, the better. Right, well, what I did want to show you quickly before I put them up is the 2 boards I've done. These are for the apex of the shed roof. I've gone for like dragon's heads and grapes. There's actually some grapes there. Just show you all the way along. And these are going to go on the apex of the actual workshop roof. One for either side. That's why they're not identical. One's for one side and one's for the other. But that's what I've got done and painted to go on. Just sort of give you a quick look before I put them up. I've got the heater on, but now I've got these done, what it actually means is I can get started. I'm going to fetch my PP down, we'll get it unpacked and have a look. Okay, I just thought I'd show you quick. What I'm actually doing is I've started to cut the PP for the Bakki shower. So while the CNC's doing the finishing on that, which is going to take quite some time, I've started on the Bakki shower and I'm going to get all my bits cut, and then we'll see how far the CNC is on, and then I shall start putting them together. So I'm just sawing everything in half at the moment, so I'll catch up with you on this project a little later on. Okay, I've just started on the biggest project I've done up here. This is a full board. I could go a little bit more, another 50 long, but this is 500 by 350. So we're underway and I'll show you guys little bits and pieces as we go along. Well, good morning one and all. I'm in the workshop, big shed, and the wind is blowing billy-o outside. It is still horrendous. Not quite as bad as the hurricane we had, but it's still horrendous here. 58 miles an hour it is, has been recorded. So we're still getting hammered. Now what I did manage to get done is I've got all the sides cut for my Bakki shower. They're all done. I've got all the ends cut and shaped. They're all done. And I've also got the supports here. I've also got them cut and ready to go in. So I wasn't just stood watching it. I did manage to get quite a bit done. Now these I did cut by hand. I prefer cutting them by hand because you get a straighter cut. The 10mm is a bit iffy. Do be careful. If you do try cutting it on a miter saw, be careful because it snatches. So just be very careful with it. I did cut some bits on there, but I did what I could by hand because it is a bit dangerous. It tends to want to grab. The plastic builds up in the blade, that's what the problem is, and then all of a sudden it'll snatch. And it don't half go with a bang. You don't want your fingers in the way, I'll tell you. So I've got all the bits done. So today I'm hoping to start putting it all together. See if we can start getting it tacked up and welded up. I'll get one tray built and make sure that everything fits, and we'll go from there. But we're started. I've got to have a bit of a clear up first, as usual. So we'll have a bit of a tidy up and then I'll think about what comes next. Building one of the boxes, I suppose. Now a full sheet of this PP, this 9mm PP, which came in this box here, a full sheet is 1200 by 600. I've got one sheet left and that's for all the extras, so I've used 3 sheets. Now the 600 measurement, all I did was cut them by hand straight down the middle. So these are just a fraction. They're a saw cut, half a saw cut less than 300mm deep, and they're 900mm long. Now that just leaves you, you've got 1200, so that just leaves you enough to get the ends cut out of the same piece of PP. What I found is, once you've taken your 900, it leaves you 30mm. I left them 30mm, and I did find that was quite wide. It would have taken loads of media to fill that. So what I did was I took 50mm off them. I've took them down by 50mm and made them that little bit narrower, which is much better, I must say. What it did, taking the 50mm off the sides, it left enough PP to get all these struts out of. It worked out just right, really. So I've got all my struts and I've got my sides all out of the 3 pieces of PP, and no waste. Well, I have actually. The only waste I got was them squares at the back there. That's the only waste out of the PP I got. So not too bad. Quite pleased with that. Okay, let's see if we can get this Bakki shower built. So I shall strike me welding gun up and let's see if we can get it put together. I'm going to tack it for a start just to see how things go. Right, before I start welding, what I want to do is just take the edges off wherever we've got 2 flat surfaces. I'll show you what I mean. Down this outside here we've got 2 flat surfaces need welding together. So what I want to do is put a little groove in there so that the rod will actually fit into the groove. It'll make a much stronger weld. Inside we're okay because we've got 2 90-degree angles which should weld fine. But on the outside I want to clean this up because we're going to see this, and then I'm going to take a groove out of both sides so that when it's fitted together there's a groove in there, and that'll allow our welding rod to make a better contact basically. So I'll get that done and then show you what I've done. Now I'm hoping you guys can see that. If you look down there, I've taken the edges off both sides of that and left a groove. So the welding rod will just go into that groove nicely and make it much easier to weld. The weld won't have to sit on top, it can go into the groove. And I shall do that for all flat facing welds. It just makes it that bit easier. Now as you can see, I've fastened my set square to the table. So what I shall do when I weld this together is make sure that that is square up against the set square, so that it's dead square basically. We've got to keep this thing square. So I'll put you guys to the side so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll get this thing tacked together. Okay, the gun's about up to temperature, so we'll get this tacked in. Making sure I'm up against the set square. Just wait for it to cool. Okay. One side tacked in. Now I should turn it round and do the other side. Now I just want to clamp my set square in there to make sure it remains square while we're doing this. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to run a tack across the other side. Let it cool, and that should be the job done. Now I should put the other end in just the same, so I'll get that done next. Okay, whenever you're doing these things, don't forget you get 4 chances when doing any welding on a seam to make it waterproof. When you tack it, make sure your tack is fully down the joint and make sure it goes right to the end. Don't forget, that's one way of sealing it. Exactly the same when you tack the other side. Make sure that it's fully sealed with the tack, and then most of your job is done when you come to welding. Once you start your welding, it should be sealed with the tack, and then you doubly make sure when you put your weld down the other side, and the same with the other side. So you actually get 4 chances at making sure this does get a seal. So that's got the 2 ends fixed to the side. Okay, I'm just going to shoot a bit of weld along this side. You will have noticed I've got my set square clamped underneath that to keep this square, to make sure that we're in line and square. I shall let it cool, take it off and do the other side. Well, there we go. That's the first shell for the tray built. Number 1, tacked and welded all the way around. So inside and out, all welded up nicely. So we've got the struts to go across, the supports for the trays, and I've also got the bottoms to go in for the egg crate. I've got to do that, and then I've got to build this end up here to take the 2-inch shower. So still plenty to do, but that's the first case built. So I think what I'll do now, I might finish this off and then go from one to the next. Yeah, I think I'll finish this off and just get this finished so each one is done when I've done, instead of doing bits on one and bits on another. So I'll start to get the cross sections and bits fitted to this one first. We'll get it completely finished and then I'll start on the next. Okay guys, well, the wind's died down a little. Hope I haven't spoke too soon, but I want to give you a quick look at Chunky so you can see how he's doing. So just bear with me and we'll open this up and see if he'll come and we can get a look at him. I'm due to redose today, but I haven't. Now I don't know whether you can see him. Let's have a look. I hope you can see that. The blooming airstone's moved over this side of the pond. But here he comes again. Let's see if we can get over a little bit. It's the other side. Come on Chunks, let's have a look at you. Come on mate. Come on. That's the side it was, and it looks perfect now. Absolutely spot on. Hope you guys can see it. It's a bit of a glary old day today. A lot of reflection, and me lens is upstairs for taking that off, my polarised lens. Here he comes. Come on guy, let's have a look. Turn round you bugger. Come on. He's gone across the other side now. Come on mate. Everything's gone, so I'm not dosing anymore. I don't want to dose the others, that's the thing again. You have to remember as you're dosing all the fish in there, and there's nothing wrong with the others. Come on Chunky. Come on mate. Now can we get a look? There you go, look. It's all gone. All gone mate, isn't it? Eh? All gone. Good boy. Thank goodness. Well, you don't realise what a relief that is. Now he's too close. But yeah, absolutely great news. I wanted you guys to know, but well pleased with that. I put the last dose in, this is the 4 days ago, and the water's cleared up nicely. But all his scales are down, the swelling's gone down. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I'm well pleased about that. Just wanted to let you guys know, all you out there that was concerned about him, he looks fine again, so fingers crossed it doesn't come back now. Oh, everything returns to normal in my pond. His old sail fin's up. Right, back to the workshop and let's carry on. Well, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just putting in the return pipe. Because this is going to hold water in the bottom here, there'll be 2 or 3 inches of water in here. I'm putting a pickup pipe, and this pipe will have slots in the bottom every so often, so that it's actually drawing water up from the bottom of the Bakki shower. So hopefully it'll help keep the dirt down a little. But these last trays, if you've not got a blade return where they sit on a blade and it goes straight back into the pond, they do suffer with dirt in the bottom of the actual Bakki shower and the bottom box. So hopefully this will put it right, or help. It's not going to stop it, I don't think, for a moment. But I've just dropped a 2-inch bulkhead in the bottom as low as I can get it, and this is obviously facing up slightly because this side is beveled in, as you know. So once the bulkhead's fitting flat, it does come up a little bit this end. But what I shall do is just warm one side of the pipe up and just bend it down that little bit. It doesn't want to go far, but I should just bend it slightly. Bends don't go well in 2-inch pipe, but I only want it a little bit, so if it puts a little crease in it, it won't matter. But that's the idea, so we'll have to see how it goes. Right, well what I've done is cut the bottom So I'm going to build it from the bottom up. So this will be the bottom tray, and then I have to do the next tray and then the top tray. So I've cut the bottom out. As you can see, I've got it already cut out, ready to go in. So what I'm going to do now is get it all tacked around and then weld it in position. Then I shall put the bars across after that. So that's where we're at the moment. I'm just about to put this bottom section. I don't know whether you can see it, but I have taken the edge off all the way around, ready for welding. So that's ready for going straight on the bottom of the shower, like that. And that's how it's going to fit. So I'm going to go around now, get it all tacked, and then we'll get it welded. So that's my next job. That's what I'm on with at the moment. Okay, I've been all around the bottom. The bottom's now all tacked in, all the way around on the outside. That's all done, and I've also got, I'm not sure how this will focus, but I've also been all the way around the inside, tacked it all around there best I can, inspected it well. Don't forget, this is one of the chances of making a seal, making it watertight. So I've been all the way around the inside and the outside now, so now I'm going to get it welded and that'll be it in position. Well, that's it, that's the bottom in and welded up. So now I can start, I've got the bars to put across the inside and the pipe can go in, waste pipe or return pipe. That'll be the bottom section nearly done. So we're getting there, it's late at night now, it's 9 o'clock, so I'm going to call it a night. I've had enough today, so I'll see you guys in the morning. Take care. Once again, good morning everybody. So now to continue on with the actual Bakki shower. What I've got to do now is get these, I've only put them in, they're not fixed at all. The supports for the next tray, I want to get them in. What I'm going to do is just tack them, because I want to see how they go once I get the next tray built and how it sits on them. I've never built one of these before, as you know, so it's all a bit of an experiment. And then I want to build the next tray and see how it sits on the top, see if I've got any mods to do. The good thing about tacking them is if you just tack them in and you want to move something, you can just run up your tack with a Stanley knife and cut it open and move it. So it's not like a permanent fixture, it's just as it says, tacked. But that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to fire up the gun and get these tacked in. Okay, as you can see, I've clamped my set square in to make sure I get them vertical. I have actually marked down roughly where I want them and measured, I've gone out 100mm from each end and then one in the centre, so I know exactly where I want them. And now I'm going to tack that in the other side, and then I should come round and do this side. So here goes. Okay, that's one tacked in. Now I'm going to take this off. Actually, I'm going to put a tack up one side to hold it in place and then take the clamp off. That's it, so it can't move now, so I'll whip this off and weld this side in. That's that in. I'm now going to do that with all three, so I'll be back with you once they're in. And there we go, all packed in, nice and solid, ready for the top box to go onto. So now what I'm going to do is actually on this end where I've got this, I want a bit of pipe and a 90 elbow. I'm going to tape them off for now. I'm going to fill it with water test it basically, test for leaks. At this stage I can reheat the gun if I've got a little leak somewhere and go over it again. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll get started on the next box. Well, I did frighten myself there for a moment. We had a wacky great puddle of water. But I've just found out I haven't tightened the nut tight enough. I hope you can see that down there, it's dripping like mad out of the bulkhead. I didn't get the nut tight enough because it's on the inside of the box. So when I refit that, I'll put the nut on the outside of the box to make sure. But everything else is fine. I've got no leaks coming from the box at all. Get down there and show you. There's nothing coming out there. So we're all good all the way round, I think. This here is what I spilt when I put the gun on the hose pipe. And down this side, I'm trying to get between a bush and the Bakki shower. But the only leak I've got, like I say, didn't do the nut on the actual tank connector tight enough, and it's leaking. But everything else is holding water, so I'm quite pleased about that. It all looks good. So I'll leave that there for an hour and just to make sure, but I think we're okay. Everything seems to be watertight, so I'm quite pleased about that. The sun's just come out, still quite windy, so now I'm going to get on with the second section. So let's go get stuck in. Well guys, I do apologise if this one's been a bit long. I don't usually do them this long, so I apologise for that if it's gone on a bit, but there was quite a lot to get into it. Anyway, the shower's coming on really well now. I'm quite pleased with that. But what I'll do is wind this one up. I've gone on long enough. So all it leaves me to say is you all take care. Stay safe. Thanks for watching. And as always, happy ponding.